Welcome back, everybody. This is our first podcast, and we're focusing on this book right here, A Faith That Will Not Fail by Michelle Cushat, 10 Practices to Build Up Your Faith When the World is Falling Apart. And Michelle starts this book with the practice of lament. And she talks about in the first part of this that it might be a little odd to start a spiritual journey practice devotional on lament, but I think lament is such an important part of our faith journey that often isn't encountered in our everyday kind of worshiping experiences and things like that. We seem to be, as a church, focused towards like joy and hope, and all of that is beautiful, but there's a really meaningful construct that's rooted deep within our spiritual tradition of lament. Lament, for me, is giving voice to things that break your heart, and simultaneously connecting that if it breaks your heart, it probably breaks the God who loves you heart as well. And so lament is connecting the things that break our heart to the things that break God's heart, and invites us in to pass to moments of mourning and acknowledging that, sometimes relationships end. Sometimes our bodies fail. Sometimes people we love pass. Sometimes dreams that we had spent our entire career working toward don't happen. And what do we do in those moments? And lament is a practice that helps us get at that. So what about you guys? What did you encounter kind of in this first section of lament?
I really felt it resounded with me that we don't lament well as a culture, that Americans especially, and the church also, we want everything to be sunshine and roses, and we want to look at the joyful side of things, and we don't want to step into the lament. And I really thought it was important to hear and be reminded that if we lament, we're lifting up that concern that we have, that suffering that we have to God, trusting that God alone will heal, and that it's not on us, it's beyond us.
Coming from an outside church experience, non-liturgical, I thought St. Matthew does lament probably the best I've ever seen, which is funny because other churches I've worked at, we've never even talked about lament. It was maybe a one-off thing, and so Lent, right, is this season where I feel like the church practices lament, or is purposely trying to engage in this. We do it at Christmas time as well with that brief, kind of the blue Christmas service. I don't think we like to live there, but I do think when we enter into lament, or we enter into these processes, it's a time of just recorrecting our course, if you would, right? It's like refocusing us on what really matters. And I see that as my parents are getting older and aging, I'm taking each day just a little differently, realizing that life has an end, an expiration date, and we'll experience that. So
yeah, I appreciate what you're saying, Mike, too, in the sense that that is part of the beauty of the Christian calendar. And living by a Christian calendar is when people were forming those ideas within our formation of, the mainline churches and the Catholic Church in general, like they did build in these moments to intentionally stop as the gathered community of Christ globally towards engaging in lament. I do think for me, one of the things that is missing is often when we encounter lament, we don't invite the church to share their laments, but instead we lament that we lost Jesus again, right? That he's crucified again, and often we don't carry that next step into, well, what is breaking your heart? What is moving you in a way? What are you mourning? What losses are you having that might be really helpful for you to express and encounter and to share, not just hold in yourself and kind of keep pushing down, but to lift up as within these seasons. So what would it look like now to take a week and say, listen, we're going to focus an entire week on connecting our laments to God's. So we invite you this season. This is Ash Wednesday. Join us at one of our Disposition of Ashes, where we intentionally think about the things that break our heart and break God's heart. And though you can do that at the church at 11 o'clock in the traditional service, or at 7 o'clock at the contemporary service, or you can meet us down at Starbucks
at the
in
Orchards.
Orchard,
Yeah.
and we'd be happy to give you ash, and would love to hear what is causing you lament this season.